Hello, welcome. So last video I showed you the fastest way to get off the Great Depression and undisturbed isolation. I'm going to come down here. I made a separate non-Ironman save where I did the exact same focus order. So I'm in the exact same position, except for this is not Ironman, so we can actually do some testing with this. Now at this point, I am building Civs. I initially set this up to do two tests. One was building Civs till about June and then swapping to build mills. And the other one was doing something some people think is a good idea, which is just building like max civs most places. Building a couple mills, you'll have to build a couple mills at the end just because those last civs will never pay themselves off. And then using the fact that right here the US gets a minus 50% civilian to military fact conversion cost, which means when you stack that with total MOB, their dude, the armament organizer, you can end up with minus 100% civ to mill conversion cost. Which means if you were to come in here and you were to convert a stack of 11 of these, if you have a minus 100% cost here, it'll convert instantly, all 11. Let's just do that. Finish the focus. We'll put ourselves at war so we can go to total MOB. And then, so we've got the minus 100% right now. And if we hover here, it shows all the cost reductions. That's minus 100%. So the cost to convert this is literally 1. But when you're doing it in a line like this, the cost from this one carries over to the next. So if I let this game run for 1 day, they all converted, every single one. Some people think that makes it worthwhile spamming out like 300 civs. So I did a little test build for that. But first, I think we should delve into why that is a horrible idea. Because I think you guys need a lesson on production efficiency. Because oh boy, do a lot of you not seem to understand the concept. Or just how important it is. I made a simple little Excel sheet for you guys. You start at 10% production efficiency by base. If you go dispersed, you'll end up somewhere between 0.2 and 0.35. And even just starting at 0.35, we can already see why it takes so long for concentrated to catch up. Because production efficiency, the way this is calculated is you're just multiplying these three numbers together. Now, at 1.55, this means you have 50% bonus. So if we came in here, right now we'd have 1.45. It's a 1 plus multiplier. I've just added in the 1. This is why production efficiency is so much more important than factory output. Right here, we've got 3.68 and 4.2. If we up this to 1.75, we're only going up to 4.16 on the 50%. So a 20% increase is not even getting us to a 10% increase in production efficiency. 1.85, so a 30% increase in factory output, going from 50 to 60 is almost getting you there. If we do this again from 70 to 80%, a 10% increase is worth more than a 20% increase. Let's just put this at 1.8. So a 25% increase would be better, but a 20% increase won't be. This is why early mills does so much better, because while one build is building production efficiency, the other one hasn't even built the mill yet. So let's go over the setup. So for the original two that I did, I made a split off point here in mid-June 38. This was the point where I was either going to just finish these civs and swap to mills, or just keep building more civs and more civs and more civs, and then eventually convert. And I did a third save just to showcase infra than mill compared to building civs until 38. Building civs until 38 feels better. Don't get me wrong. Having the additional civs feels better, but it's not better. Also, during 1939, every single build is going to do these 4 twice. So that's 12 civs being used for 360 days. That's your random other stuff that you're doing. So for each of these builds, I have a February 1st, 1941 save, a January 1st, 1942 save, and a January 1st, 1943 save. Basically, every game you're going to play is going to be decided by 1943. But if you screw up your build, it's going to be decided in 1941. This is the civ conversion option. I've decided to convert down to 100 civs, and I've done that for all of them. After I filled out all of the slots, I'd convert down to 100 civs. I had a set order in which I was going to put factories on things, and I just followed that order. And let's just compare their production outputs. AA, truck, support equipment, trains, those are untouched. Those are going to be largely the same across all of the different options. AT, 1,600 versus 11,000 versus 13,300, with the mill rush where you just never build civs. You go infrastructure until partial MOB and then mills. Guns. That is an excessive amount of guns, same as artillery, and in most cases you would have swapped off, but that creates the question of when, and then people will bitch about that and claim it's not fair to the other one and whatnot. So I just left it on there. I think I did these ones backwards. Not by inputting, I mean, I think I just put mills on fighters first for mill rush and tanks first for normal. Here's the thing, I'm just taking their production output for the top values here, so it doesn't actually matter. And as we can see, the intentionally building civs, a couple of mills, and then converting, yeah, you'll be at the same point as building mills in June of 38, and you'll actually be ahead on mills than just mills at partial mode. Actually ahead. You're just about to run out of slots on Disperse 4 at this point, but you haven't had time to convert your civs yet. But you still got the production advantage because you have the production efficiency built up, because you've had the mills for longer. This gap never gets made up because civs to mills doesn't have a massive advantage in mills because you're out of slots. But here's the thing, building civs doesn't have a massive advantage over just never building civs because you're out of slots here and you're nearly out of slots here. And that story just continues all the way across. And that gives you this chart. This is actually February 41, ignore that. But either way, that gap just never gets made up. Building the civs, well, it feels better, is slightly worse, but it's not substantially worse. But overbuilding civs is just horrible for you. Intentionally building civs just to convert them to mills is a horrible idea. Building some extra civs to help you build mills and then converting them, not as bad of an idea, but you could have just never built the excess civs. So yeah, this is technically civ greeting. For the USA, building civs until June 38 is technically civ greeting as the USA because it's just worse. And you're never going to get ahead because you're at the same amounts. The only difference here is the fact that we're getting one less from the Philippines for no particular reason. We've maxed out all of our slots. We'd maxed out all of our slots here too. We got Disperse 5 at the same time. We got Tools 5 at the same time. I made sure to swap everything in at the same time. Production efficiency is king. I mean, the only advantage the normal build has is if you don't swap your factories around, you'll produce more of the things you put factories on later. That's what we're seeing here. Mill Rush hasn't produced as many tanks or fighters because I never swapped around their production. But if I just swapped around their production or just not put as much on this stuff to make up for the fact that I'm going to make more of it because I've got factories on it sooner, then it would have gone in here and it would have been a wash because, well, we still have more total output. And that's the thing, you know, you can distribute your factories however you want. The whole point of this is just to get a variety of things that take a variety of resources. Anyways, don't build civs intentionally to convert them. It's just inefficient and bad. And don't civ greed. You don't need as many civs as you think. There's a reason why basically every multiplayer build has you swapping to building mills by the beginning of 38, with the exceptions of the Soviet Union, who might build civs to mid 38, and that's because multiplayer people understand the value of mills earlier and the associated production efficiency that comes with having things earlier. If you can't build mills in the beginning of 38 because you don't have anything worth producing, then you just need to research better. That's a you problem. If you don't have anything to build by the beginning of 38, you need to prioritize your research better because you're clearly not doing it right. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.